Welcome in Frankfurt at the book fair. Welcome at Penguin Random House and Stern Magazine. My name is Doris, and it's my pleasure to talk today with Stina Boltor and with Lena Holm. The latest novel, my first question, of course, is it was awful news in February when Jussi Adler-Olsen made public in an interview that he suffers from cancer. How is Mr. Adler-Olsen doing?
Well, we just talked to him this morning. We had breakfast with him, and he's here in Frankfurt. But there's too many people here for him to go around. You know, he doesn't have a good immune, so it's not good for him to be around many people. But we should say hi to all of you, and he is in a good shape. And we're all crossing fingers that he will survive this bone cancer. But at the moment, we have to take care of him.
The latest novel on Department Q, which so many people dearly love, has been written by you, by the two of you, Stina and Lena. Mr. Adler-Olsen in the background. How did this arrangement develop? Who had the idea to work in this manner?
Well, actually, the story starts almost 4 years ago when Jussi approached us and asked us, would you like to continue my series? We were totally shocked. We didn't know about it. He just came up to us at one point at a literature festival or a book mass like this, and he asked us, so what are you doing for the next 5, 6 years? And then it dawned on us that he actually was talking about Department Q, or Sonderdezernat Q, as you say in Germany. And then it was actually meant to be Jussi, Stina, and me together working on the book. But and we actually did develop the characters, the whole plot, everything together in the fall of 23. But then in the beginning of 24, Jussi became very ill. So we started writing, and then for a few months we were writing and just hoping for the best, crossing our fingers for Jussi. And then in May of 24 he was feeling better, so we could show him the manuscript and see, what do you think about this work that we did on your beloved universe? And that's when he read it and he put his hand on the script and said, this is a true Department Q series. So we worked together on it, all of us, but because he got sick, we had to write a little bit for ourselves.
You both started your career as journalists. You did crime stories, police stories, and you are very successful crime authors too. I can't think there must have been some struggles within a trio like this. I'm curious to learn how that worked, because three very strong-minded, very successful people.
Yeah, of course. It was a huge thing, and it was, of course, we were a bit nervous. Should we do this? Because everybody loves Department Q and they love Jussi. And but since he said, you're the ones I want to work with, we said, okay, let's do it. It's a big opportunity for us, of course, to learn from the master of thrillers. And of course, we wanted to come into his office and learn from him. And it has been a very nice journey. And we are very happy that people are taking so good, wanting to read this. And we are so thrilled to be here today and meet all of you as well.
The most surprising novelty in the book to me is, of course, Elena Henry, an enigmatic French investigator who changes the dynamic in Department Q. What can you tell us about her? Why suddenly a female hero?
Well, if maybe people here, some have read book number 10. Book number 10, I don't know if I spoil a little bit, but book number 10 ends with Carl actually leaving the police force. So that was our starting point. So we went to Jussi and we said, what do you think about us inventing a new character? Can we introduce a new woman to Department Q? And he was, yes, I love that. I want a woman, you know. And then we thought about, we should do this strong woman, not completely young, somebody in her, well into her 40s, and of course someone with a lot of secrets, because as you know, Assad, Rose, everybody in Department Q has their own secrets. So we invented this French-Danish policewoman who comes into the basement, and of course she's quite, you know, she has charisma. So Assad, of course, he thinks, that is nice. Rosa, not so much. She's feeling a little bit threatened. So we thought it would be funny to introduce somebody completely new. But Carl is still there in the background. He cannot keep away. So don't worry, he's still there, Carl Mørck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please
Actually, we asked Jussi. So, Jussi, can we make room for one more character in the basement? And to do that, maybe we should kill one of your darlings.
Oh.
And if some of you met Jussi, he's like, no, no, no. And it was, we said to him, so Carl will stay, yes. Assad, yes, we can't miss out of him. What about Rosa? Should we put her on a holiday or something like? No, 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 no. But Gordon, you have to keep him. But then we put him in a part of Denmark that sometimes feels like it's a part of Germany because it's in Jutland, you know, Jutland, and then we put Gordon there. So he's still there, and it's also because we want Department Q to come all around in Europe and in Denmark too. So yeah, okay. So they are all there.
I assume in the audience there are fans of Department Q,
so.
And you all love Carl and Rose and Assad. I think it's very intriguing to see the dynamic that develops between Elena and Rose. Rose is not really pleased by the arrival of Elena. How did you prepare Rose for this change?
You can't prepare Rose for anything, so you just have to go along. And she is, like Line just said, she is not a fan of Elena. She wants to be the boss in the Department Q. She wants to take care of everything, and nobody should touch her archive or anything in the department. So it was quite fun for us to develop Rose in that direction, to give her some woman power to struggle with, because she's so used to all these men, and she can just go around with the men. That's how Rose is. So now she has, maybe she has to step up a little bit, I think so. Right?
Let us talk again about the process of writing with 3 people. How can I imagine this process? Did one starts after finding the story, of course, and the characters, and the other continues writing, or did you do it chapter by chapter? How did this develop?
Well, the process was, like I said earlier, that when you write a thriller novel, you have to be very particular and meticulous with the details, because you have to make sure that the reader understands something in the beginning, but they don't know what to make of it until the end. So we always plan our books very, very carefully, and we do this, I think in German you say exposé. We do like a plan of the book, and we figure out who is this chapter belonging to, what's the point of view, what's going to happen here. Oh, we have to put something in here because we need that later. So we spent months and months with Jussi, that was before he was sick, planning the book, talking about the characters, talking about the dilemmas and themes of the book. And then when we sit down to write, we kind of divide it in between us. Sometimes, oh, I love this character, I want to write her, or, oh, I think the villain is so fun, I'm going to write the villain chapters. And then we keep shipping it back and forth and write it all through. And then Jussi was well enough to read along with us in the fall of 24. So he was like our first editor, and he said, oh, I love this, make more of that, maybe change a little bit here. Here I need, we don't need this anymore. Here we should jump to this. So he was like our first editor. So it's a group process in a way, but I think it's a process also that we learned a lot from. And I think Jussi, after he was feeling better, he really enjoyed that process. That's what he told us. It made him feel a little bit more, healthy and alive and kicking again, because it had been a very long hospital stay for him before that. So it was a fun process. We didn't even argue, not even once.
Oh. And actually, we asked him, can't you write a camel joke? Because most of you know there's a lot of camels in the books. In Department Q, there's a lot of camel jokes. So you'll find one or two camel jokes, and it's not from our hand. So we can assure you he has put his hand on the novel too.
And did you change the sound of the characters? Are there other jokes instead of camel jokes?
There are other jokes, yeah. Of course there is. We don't want to copy him. We want to make our own sound. But like Line just said, that we are very happy that Jussi says that this is really a Department Q novel, a thriller. And actually his wife said to us, I don't understand, this could be my husband's work. So of course we're very happy with that. So I hope everybody will feel this is a Department Q novel.
Talking about differences, poison and car accidents have been preferred ways of killing in Olsen novels. Do you prefer other ways? I think one poison and one car accident is also in this new book, but is there
Don't
a
spoil.
Well, that's actually one thing we talked a lot with Jussi about, because he, how should I put this, he prefers his killings to be spectacular and new. We can never repeat something. It has to be in a new way or a spectacular way, but never like splatter, never too bloody just to be bloody, but he likes to be challenged. He likes to see something new every time. And that's what we try to do. And he helped us thinking about, what should we be doing? What could be funny? What is unexpected at this point in the story?
Sorry. And there is, and we also look into the society to see what's up, what's in the time now. And one of the things, especially in Denmark, is since we have Novo Nordisk, we also have this where you can get very slim if you put in a needle in you.
Die Abnehmspritze, Ozempic, Wegovy.
Ozempic, yes. Wegovy and stuff like that. So not to spoil anything, but of course we'll also use a little bit of that, and maybe you'll not get thin, but maybe you'll end up in a coffin.
I'm very curious to learn, you both started your career as a police writer for magazines, for newspapers, is that correct?
No, not quite.
Really?
I'm the crime reporter.
Sorry,
and
yes.
Line, you're more...
Yeah, I actually worked for the same newspaper in Denmark for 20 years, doing mostly investigative stuff and political stuff and stuff like that. But you did most crime, I did crime, a few cases with that, some big spectacular cases, but so we have a little bit of both. We have a lot of contacts in the police force and in the political environment, and that's very helpful for us as crime writers, because you can just call, maybe the former head of the homicide investigators in Copenhagen and ask them, so you come to a homicide scene, what's the first thing you do? Or what would you do if you came across this murder mystery? What's the first thing you think of as a homicide chief? And even so, you can call the politicians and ask, if you had to do something very, very bad in, the Danish parliament, help us think of something really bad. You have your sources, so that's very helpful.
And since I've been writing 10 books about true crime, as you say, in all over the world. And those 10 books, most of them are, like Line says, homicide investigators. So since I've been writing their memoirs, of course, sometimes I don't even have to call them, because I know what would you do when you come to a crime scene and stuff like that. So that's very good for us.
What would you say, when you have written so much true crime stories, writing fiction? Yeah. Is it easier or is it more difficult to write fiction?
Oh, that's
because
a good
you
question.
Cannot just invent things.
No, exactly. Sometimes it's more easy to write true crime because you can just look up how was the weather, what day was it, what happened. Here you have to invent and use your imagination. So in that way, it's more easy because you can just invent. It depends, of course, if we have to agree, of course. But then I remember one of the other books that Lina and I were writing together. I just killed a man the night before, and then the next day, Lina said, "No, you can't kill him. I need him for the next chapter. He's alive in the next chapter," and then we have to fight a little bit about when. So he has to die a little bit later. You won that one.
Yeah, he needed CPR, so he became alive again. Then he died later.
Yeah.
And is there a creativity in inventing how people are killed? I think yes.
Yes.
And how do you get your inspiration?
From the real world, I would say, and from our crazy brains and from Jussi's brain. So we are all crazy people, I think.
But people ask us, "Oh, how can you think of these horrible things? You must be crazy. Are you safe? Can I really come visit you? Because you seem crazy. You can think of these horrible ways to kill people." But I would say Stine covered a lot of crime in Denmark. I have been in many courtrooms just hearing. And I would say reality is often much worse. So when you go to a courtroom in Denmark or in Germany, you can hear stories that you couldn't even put in a novel because people would say, "No, that's too far out. That's never going to happen." So I think reality is some way is worse than the fiction novels.
Yeah, that's true.
I spoiled just a little bit the place where this, or an important place where this takes place is a school for. May I say that?
Yeah. It's okay.
It's a school for singers.
Yes.
And you, of course, Crime Story deal with the question of the abuse of power. Why these kind of, the abuse of power? Does it take place anywhere, anytime, or are there special places that are much more, where this abuse of power takes place?
Misuse of power. I guess misuse of power can be in every part of the world, every part of the, society. And we just wanted to put it in this. It's a children's choir for young boys, and we know that when boys are together, there will always be some kind of, who is the boss and who is the one who has got bragged or something like that. Yeah, balliga. And then, so we thought that was an interesting environment to put some of the story in. And actually, Jussi is also, he has been a boys singer.
Oh, really?
So if he was here now, maybe he would sing out loud. And so he thought it was a funny part. Don't you think so, Line?
Yeah, so the central, what happens in the book is that, I won't spoil, but it starts with 40 years ago, a group of boys from a boys' choir. They are together in the night, they're going out into the woods, and something happens between those 5 boys that will come back to haunt them 40 years later. So it all started with us discussing when something bad happens between children, who is to blame? Is it the child that does it? Is it the teacher who is not living up to their responsibility? Is it the parent? Is it, is it society? Is it corruption of, moral standards? So that's what we are kind of discussing in this book. So,
Writing about all these really, really cruel things, do you still believe in the kindness of man?
Yes, of course. You have to, or else we would work with something else. I've been reading this book with a man, who do autopsy. In Danish and maybe also in German, it's called a Retsmediciner, a pathologue.
Pathologue, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he has this phrase. He says, "Always remember that outside the sun is always shining. You have to pay your bills. You have to go to work. You have to discuss with your neighbor or your wife, and that's also a part of life. So don't get too much into the dark side. But I think that since we are so many people who love to read a thriller or a crime novel, it's because we like this to say, oh, thank God it's not happening to me, but to get that thrill and to read that. I think that's part of it. Yeah.
But of course, we also discussed, you know, people say nobody's born evil, but some people become evil. So what happens along the way? And for this book, we discussed a lot about how important it is as a child to be loved and to be cared for and to have parents who really, you know, support you and protect you. And so we discussed a lot, you know, what happens to children who become murderers? Where did it go wrong along the way? So that's the theme in the book, in a way.
My last question, will there be a 12th case for Department Q? Will there be another novel?
Of course. Yeah.
I think we have had a lot of meetings already with UC. We met several times over the last couple of months. So hopefully within the next few weeks we will start writing for real. We have the plot ready. We have decided what to do with our characters. And maybe Carl Mørck, if he wants to, we're still discussing with him, but we think he might come back into a little bit bigger role as well.
That's
again.
a very great and interesting end of our talk. Thank you so much. We will continue here with the book Treppe aus Papier. Henrik Schento and my colleague Katrin Boldebuk will interview him. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.